Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Irish Abroad Show. It's myself, Paul Tierney, and I'm joined by Ger Brown after his cycle against suicide. Ger, how are we?
I'm all good after my trek from Lahinch to Mallinhead. It was a fantastic 4 days out on the bike. Very much enjoyed it, I have to say. A great feeling getting to the top. Unfortunately, had to miss the first 2 days of the journey because of COVID. But look, still, I think 4 days Lahinch to Mallinhead was still a fair journey. The third day was they call it the moving day in the majors tournaments in golf. It certainly was a moving day for us because that was our longest day, 150 kilometres from just outside Castlebar in Mayo to Donegal town. And really the last 20 kilometres now was a real struggle. The knee joints were really sore, and we made good use of the pools and the hotels were providing, and plenty of use of DP. We certainly used that day as well. But no, it's good to be back. Yourself and Paul held the show very well last week, and what an absolute bonker show. Just looking here at my notes for all this week, I've 8 pages of notes. There's just so much to get through.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll quickly move on into that anyway. And well done as well. Sorry, I should have said that at
Cheers.
the start.
All right.
We'll start off in the Premier League anyway, and I'm just going in order from what I seen on the apps and different stuff as well. Kieran Clark played the full 90 minutes again in Newcastle's 1-1 draw with Watford. Obviously, that was the disappointing one for Newcastle because from what I heard, they probably should have won, but in the end, they were lucky not to even be defeated because there was a goal ruled out by VAR, from what I remember. Shane Long was on the sub for Southampton in their 1-0 defeat to Wolves. I did watch a bit of that. Southampton look very goal shy, and I don't think if you're bringing Shane Long on, he's not going to be banging in 2 and 3 anyway. It's not his fault, and I shouldn't criticise the man, but it's been his career, and I think he'd be the first to admit that as well for a lot of clubs. And then finally, Shane Duffy again, another good performance. Full 90 minutes for Brighton in the derby against Crystal Palace. Look, another good result for Brighton. They've only lost once this season, and they're still well involved in the top.
Yeah, and Aaron Connolly came on, I think, for the last 15 minutes of that game as well. Yeah, I was watching that game on Monday night. They were probably fortunate enough. Brighton Crystal Palace were the better team the first half and deservedly took the lead when they were given the penalty for foul on Conor Gallagher. And Wilfred Zaha took it away. Great chance in the second half. Absolute glorious chance passed up by Jordan Ayew. But they hung in there, Brighton, and well taken goal by Neil Mope at the end to get them points. And like you said, they're up there. They're only a point off top spot. They're in with that cluster of teams on 13 points. They've got an interesting game this weekend, Arsenal, the Saturday night game. But I think that's going to be a very good test for them because Arsenal's recent resolve as well. And like there is a lot of comparisons as well, of course, being made to Brighton and from 5 years ago or 6 years ago, even the stage that Leicester City team. They're actually a point further on than Leicester were that season. Now, I still do not think Brighton will even get European football this year. I think their main aim is to get to 40 points as quick as possible and see where they can take it from there and hopefully push for a top 10 finish. And, you know, I noticed about them last season and for a couple of years now under Graham Potter, they play a nice style of football. It was just a case of putting the ball in the back of the net. And they seem to be doing that a little bit more. Now, they are getting a little bit of luck that get a 90-minute goal to beat Brentford. You know, Leicester, 2 goals disallowed against them for offsides of the week. I still can't understand how the second one of them was disallowed. So they are getting a little bit of luck, but you need that to be going quite successful. I've seen a little bit of the Southampton who at Wolves match well and the highlights on match today as well. Shane Long actually had a half chance in that game. I think that Southampton are one of them teams I think who are really going to struggle this season. You know, they're on 4 points, which is not a bad return, but still no win, which is the biggest concern. I think they're away to Chelsea this weekend as well. The other kind of big talking point for me from an Irish point of view, and it's not a good one from the weekend, was Matt Doherty. Not even names in the matchday squad for the North London Derby on Sunday. Now, Spurs play Conference League action tonight. We'll probably feature that, but the lack of game time in the league for me is very worrying, even at this early stage in the season.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think he should be playing more. The fella they brought in, Emerson Royale, I mean, it doesn't look that much better than Matt Doherty anyway. They've conceded 9 goals in 3 games in the Premier League. I mean, if he's not getting into a small club like that, I'd be worried. But look, yeah, it's disappointing for Matt. I'm sure he's very disappointed, especially with his old manager coming in as well. We all thought he might get a bit more game time. Obviously, he probably played this evening, but sure, look, I know Arsenal aren't in Europe, but that's a riff-raff tournament, really. Yeah, he'll probably play in that. Does he really want to be playing in that? Probably not. But look, hopefully you get a couple of opportunities when, I'm not wishing injuries upon other players, but hopefully when that does happen, he does get an opportunity and comes into the side.
I think the only
go on.
kind of concerns you were saying there, it is a big concern for Spurs. Like, they've conceded 9 goals in the last 3 matches, and you're thinking, right, they'll probably need a defensive shake-up. Unfortunately, I don't think Matt is the type of player that would bring defensive stability to him. He'll be looking for someone for more of an attacking outlet. Now, they've only scored 1 goal in them 3 matches as well, so we know how dangerous he can be going forward. And it just shows how quickly things have turned, and not just for Tottenham, but North London in general. They were top a couple of weeks ago. Arsenal were bottom. Arsenal have now leapfrogged them in 3 games. And we mentioned, like, they've got to play Aston Villa now this Sunday at home, like, which is not going to be an easy game. I can't understand how some people are writing off Aston Villa this season, thinking, oh, they've lost Jack Grealish. Aston Villa are still going to have a very fine season, and they've shown that for their last couple. Give them every chance of going to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and getting a result on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look at the players they brought in. They brought a goal scorer in Danny Ings. They've got Buendia, who's the same player as Grealish, just not as good. I mean, they've replaced Grealish by bringing in some top quality players who are going to get you goals, players who are going to create chances. And sure, look, they won at Old Trafford last week, mainly thanks to Bruno Fernandes being a madman. But look, listen,
even players as well, like Matty Cash seems to have taken his game to another level this year. I see he has Polish connections. Poland are after him. I think he'd be foolish not to take up on that one, because as much as I said he's take his game on, I don't see him getting a look in England. And I think he'd be a fantastic addition. And he's only, 23, 24. He'd be a fantastic addition to the Polish national team if he was to go there.
Yeah, I think he is. I don't think he can go this international break, but I think they're trying to sort out the visa or something for the November ones anyway. Look, it'd be a nice one for Poland anyway, because obviously they struggled in tournaments in the last while, whereas they have Lewandowski. The quality kind of dwindles as you go further back in the team. So look, be nice to see from him as well. And look, Villa are a good side, and they're definitely going to do well this year. That's all I have from the Premier League. Do you have anything else to add? Or
no, that's just pretty much it. Just maybe some of the individual player ratings. So Kieran Clark got 6s all around from local print outlets in the northeast of England. Chronicle Live gave him 6. The only bit they had to say about his performance was he wasted a good header in either half. You don't really get much of an insight from that. But the Gazette gave a little bit more of an insight. They gave him 6 out of 10 as well. But instead, he put in a steady performance alongside Fernandes, and they also touched on the headers that he wasted as well. Shane Long got a 5 out of 10 rating from the Daily Echo for his cameo appearance when he came on. And both Shane Duffy and Aaron Connolly got 6 out of 10 ratings from Sussex Live for Brighton's 1-1 draw against Crystal Palace. Just saying about Duffy, won a number of headers when required, but looked a little shaky when under pressure, and his distribution was not the best. But again, did not do much wrong. And they just said about Aaron Connolly that he held the ball up well in his brief cameo. And I think that wraps up the Premier League action from the weekend with the Irish contingent.
Yeah, that's it basically. I have nothing else anyway to add. We can move on to the Championship now. Anyway, I didn't get much from it. I just kind of ran through it really quickly. Mark Travers played the full 90 in Bournemouth. Another win for Bournemouth over Middlesbrough. Darragh Lenihan went off early for Blackburn in their win against Cardiff. I think it was 56 minutes. I'm not sure what happened there, but I don't think he normally goes off that early anyway, especially being a centre half.
Was down as injured for their game against Huddersfield on Tuesday night. So I'd say that was it. Up until then, he was actually meant to be having a very good performance as well. So
James Collins also got a bit of time in that one. Probably still hasn't found his feet at Cardiff yet, considering he was so good for Luton Town. There was a clean sheet for Blackpool's Richard Keogh and his goalkeeper on his defence in their 1-0 win over Barnsley. They've actually played really well the last while, Blackpool. The Sheffield United lads, Enda Stevens, John Egan and Conor Hurham were all involved in their late 1-0 win over Derby County, which Jason Knight also played for Derby in that. We have and on Friday night, Callum Robinson got a double assist for Carlin Grant in their 2-1 win over QPR. It was a late win in that one as well, and West Brom continue their fine start to the season.
They do indeed, and another big win as well on Tuesday night, which we might get to for the midweek games as well. Just a little bit worrying, the Irish contingent. Colin Robinson's form has dripped off the last kind of couple of weeks. Maybe he's still feeling long-term effects from COVID. He's not even seeing out full 90 minutes seems to be kind of substituted kind of regularly. Now, I think his distribution and contribution to games don't seem to be that bad. Like, he got 6 out of 10 rating from the Birmingham Mail for his performance on Friday night. Jason Lumby, I have down here my notes, still no appearances from his loan move since his loan move from Brighton, but obviously we'll touch on that change, thankfully, on Tuesday night. Just also in that game as well, Jimmy Dunn made his first start of the season for QPR in that game, and he came away with a decent enough review. He got a 6 out of 10 rating from the West London Sport. Ryan Manning played the full 90 minutes in Swansea's 1-0 win against Huddersfield on Saturday. Got very, very strong reviews from Wales Online, getting 8 out of 10 rating, saying he looked very composed on the ball and got a couple of decisive defensive interceptions in that game as well. Just also on that Blackburn Cardiff game from the weekend, Joel Bagan played the full 90 minutes from Cardiff. He's getting a lot of minutes under his legs this season so far in a Cardiff jersey, which is good to see. As I mentioned with the Sheffield United contingent with their win against Derby, they've picked it up a little bit after a slow start to the season. John Egan for the second week in a row was named in the Championship Team of the Week, which is good to see. Just a couple of ratings on the Irish contingent from that game. The Yorkshire Post gave Egan 5 out of 10, Stevens 5 out of 10, and Hurahan 6 out of 10, while the Star gave Egan 6 out of 10, Stevens 6 out of 10, and Hurahan also 6 out of 10. And Scott Hogan and Shane Maguire both were substituted as their respective clubs, Birmingham City and Preston North End, played out a 0-0 draw. Hogan got a 5.5 rating from the Birmingham Mail, and Maguire got a 6 out of 10 rating from Langside.
That's good going from the Championship for those lads anyway, definitely. Yeah. Do you want to move on into League One maybe, or there was a lot of action in League One?
We can cover the midweek action from the Championship. Obviously, of course, there was another double game week, as those often tend to be the case when there's Champions League action on. And I can run through that here, so if you want. So Callum Robinson played 62 minutes, and Jason Lumby finally came on to make his West Brom debut. He played the last 10 minutes as the Albion bet Cardiff City 4-0 away from home on Tuesday night. Robinson got an 8 out of 10 rating from the Birmingham Mail. Improvement there from his performance on Friday night. Just a couple of quotes. Makes such a difference in the starting 11 when he's in this kind of mood. Robinson was on the pitch an hour, but in that time he ran the Cardiff backline ragged and played a big hand in the second. Yeah, I think he did actually get an assist in this game as well. Might have had one himself, but for the fingertips of Phillips, the Cardiff goalkeeper. A bad night for Mick McCarthy's men. James Collins and Mark McGuinness were both substituted in the 66 minutes of this game. McGuinness was actually given the man of the match performance from Wales Online with their players' ratings, but he was only given a 4 out of 10, so it tells you how much they thought of that Cardiff performance. His first appearance since the opening day of the season, he was actually meant to be played out of position a little bit at right back. He's more known for being a centre back, but Collins only got a 2 out of 10 rating, and they have touched on that he's just lacking severe confidence at the moment. Cardiff not really having the best of seasons at the moment. Another fine display by Richard Keogh. He played the full 90 minutes as Blackpool, who've had a decent enough start to the season up from League One, drew with fellow New Boys Hull City 1-1 away from home on Tuesday night, and he was actually given the man of the match by the Blackpool Gazette with a 7 out of 10 rating, saying he made some heroic blocks to keep Hull at bay, especially when they built up pressure at the start of the second half. Sheffield United's mini revival came to a halt on Tuesday night. They were beaten 2-0 away to Middlesbrough, and 4 Irish players were involved in this one. John Egan played 90 minutes, and Stephen played 68 minutes. David McGoldrick came on at half-time. Good to see. That's his first appearance in 5 weeks after returning from injury, so he's been out since the end of August. And Conor Hurahan came on for the last 14 minutes. Player ratings from Stevens, should also note as well, picked up a yellow card. Just a couple of player ratings from this. Yorkshire Post gave Egan 6 out of 10 and McGoldrick 6 out of 10, but they gave 5 out of 10s to Stevens and Hurahan. And the Star gave McGoldrick 6 out of 10 and 5 out of 10s to Egan and Stevens. They didn't rate Conor Hurahan as he was viewed not to be on the pitch long enough. Greg Cunningham played the full 90 minutes. Shane Maguire played 62 minutes. And Alan Brown came on for the last 28 minutes in Preston's 1-1 draw at home against Stoke. Cunningham also picked up a yellow card in this game. And all 3 players picked up 6 out of 10 ratings from Lancs Live. And Jimmy Dunn, after his performance on Friday night, was once again thrown into the QPR defence and was part of a defence that kept a clean sheet as they bet Birmingham 2-0 in Loftus Road. He got 7 out of 10 rating from the West London Sport, saying this was the centre-back's second championship start, but he looked solid alongside Dickey. I don't know who Dickey is. I'm not familiar with the
I
QPR
think
team.
his name is Rob Dickey.
Yeah, I thought it actually might have been a nickname, but I need to brush up on my QPR 11 now going forward if they're going to be throwing in names or slang names like that. And matched his partner by bringing the ball out of defence to good effect. Scott Hogan, he played 70 minutes in this game for Birmingham, but he only got a 4.5 rating. I don't actually have any of last night's. I know that Dan McNamara started for Millwall in their 1-0 win against Bristol City. Should also mention as well, Callum McDowell was back on the bench for them at the weekend. No, he didn't make the bench last night. And Glenn Reid was part of the Luton Town team that went goal crazy last night because they hammered Coventry 5-0. That's all I have now from last night.
Yeah, I just got a couple more there from last night as well. Jason Knight actually set up Craig Forsyth's goal for Derby, which is a great result for them. It puts them back into plus points almost
That's
immediately
right, yeah.
after being deducted those points. Rightly but cruelly in a way, you have to look at it. Peterborough and Bournemouth played out a 0-0 draw, and there was a lot of Irish involvement in that. Connor Coventry, Sam Schmoddix, and Jack Taylor all involved for Peterborough. And Mark Travers was in goal again for Bournemouth, who kept a clean sheet again. And that's good going for Travers. He continues his good form in goal for Bournemouth. And Scott Parker really seems to fancy him.
Yeah, just the only slight kind of concern is just the Gavin Kilkenny situation of the last kind of couple of weeks. There's been no real kind of word or mention as to why he's been left out of match day squads. I look at Flash every week, and they usually give the list of the players who aren't involved with injury, and he's not down to that. Maybe it's a case of that Scott realised he's just a young lad. He put a lot in the first kind of couple of games season, and he's just trying to manage him. But it is a little bit frustrating because he was someone we were hoping that the way he was playing in the month of August, and if he could kind of kick on, he was someone that you would have felt Stephen Kenny would have been looking to bring in. Now, because of that, I don't think he's going to be named in his squad today. But it's good to see as well Jason Knight. Now, I think we touched on the show 2 weeks ago. He finally made his first couple of appearances of the season. Now he's getting a bit more of a regular run as well, and he's going to be a key player for Derby. He's a touchdown. That's a big win for them because they're now back on plus points. They're on 1 point now after being deducted 12. I think they're still only 7 or 8 points off the relegation zone. That's not bad at this stage of the season. Like, only for the points deduction, they'd be on 13 points and be looking at the playoffs. I think it has to be said that Wayne Rooney is doing a fantastic job there, given all the circumstances at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see the other lads, along with Jason Knight as well, the likes of even Ravel Morrison, who, has kind of thrown the head at a lot of clubs, is like, okay, it's only about just over 10 games in. He looks like he's well motivated and wants to keep playing for them. And I'd say a lot of that is down to Rooney's management as well. So, look, hopefully they keep going because it was unfortunate what did happen and they started so well too. So, look, hopefully they keep going anyway. We can move on into League One. We'll start with the weekend now as well. I can do that. Start off with Conor Shaughnessy and Anthony Scully were both involved in Lincoln's 2-1 win away at Burton Albion. Conor Shaughnessy scored for Burton and Anthony Scully obviously scored for Lincoln. He continues his fine form at the start of this season. Marcus Harness and Ronan Curtis both got a goal in the 2-2 draw with Charlton Athletic on the weekend. Sean Williams and Gavin Bazzoon, who also played in that for Portsmouth too. That's a real Premier League sounding match from 06-07 sort of time anyway. Troy Parrott scores the winner for MK Dons against Wickham. It was a penalty, I think, and there was a red card just before that penalty. Daryl Horgan and Warren O'Hara also played. Horgan obviously for Wickham and Warren O'Hara played for MK Dons. That's all I got from League One anyway. Did you grab anything else yourself?
No, the only other bit of news I have from the weekend, and it's not positive news, it's negative news, is Shane McLaughlin was sent off for Morecambe in their 3-3 draw with Accrington Stanley. Yeah, as I mentioned there, I suppose the two big talking points from League One. Good to see Troy back on the goals because I think he'd gone 4 games without a goal, so you kind of would have been questioning, was his good start to the season a bit of a false dawn? I think we'll touch on as well during the week. He got an assist as well, so he's getting back involved in the goals one way or another, which is good to see. But Anthony Scully, it's fantastic start to the season. He's now up to double figures for all competitions. I think that was his 6th in the league. Once again, getting very, very strong reviews. Lincolnshire Live gave him a 7.5 out of 10 rating. saying like it wasn't his best performance this season, but still very good nonetheless, which again just shows you like how well he's kind of playing. He's one player I think that surely has to be in Stephen Kenny's squad today.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I mean, he should have been in the last one as well. Definitely,
Yeah.
I mean, Ronan Curtis's form has improved the last while, and he'll probably be in again. But Scully, definitely. I mean, his form was miles better than Curtis's the last time around, and he just didn't get picked. But look, hopefully, anyway, we'll see in a couple of hours. But I definitely think he'd be involved anyway. Surely he has to. We can move on into the midweek ones as well now. As you mentioned, Troy Parrott did get an assist in MK Don's 3-3 draw with Fleetwood Town on Tuesday evening. A couple of other things from League One again. Thomas O'Connor got a goal in Burton Albion's 2-1 win over Portsmouth. All the lads we mentioned already were also all playing for Portsmouth. Ronan Curtis, Marcus Harness, Bazunu and Sean Williams as well. Mark Sykes got a goal for Oxford United against Accrington Stanley. Luke McNally also played for Oxford in that game too. And 2 assists for Aidan McGeady against Cheltenham. Sunderland won 5-0 and they're top of the league. They're a couple of points ahead of Wigan in second. And good going for them. Probably down there far too long for a club like that.
Yeah, I think this is their 4th season down now, which is mad and is mental. They've had a couple of near misses in the playoffs. I think losing that final to Charlton. I think it's 2019 last year, losing out or last season to Lincoln. But yeah, as you said, they're absolutely flying into the season. Aidan McGeady having a really, really good start to the season. Saying getting a couple of more assists in that one. He got an 8 out of 10 rating from Chronicle Live. Aidan O'Brien got a 7 out of 10 rating from the same publication as well. Good views all around as well for the Irish contingent at Oxford. Obviously, they win beating Accrington Stanley 5-1. Mark Skykes, of course, former Northern Ireland underage player, but he has declared and made himself available now for the Republic. So he's someone that Stephen Kenny can pick from. And they're saying he's now starting to regularly stamp his authority on that team. Luke McNally, signs, I think, was just at the end of the League of Ireland season last year. It's taken a while, but he's really starting to find his feet now in League One, which is great to see. Always like to see, obviously, for players from this league want to do well, and when they're Pats players, I'm going to have a bit more bias to him. But he got 6.5 rating as well from that one. And just the only other bit as well that I have from League One is just 2 minutes after being introduced in the 77th minute, Ryan Delaney, who's more known for being a defender, but he seems to be getting involved in other ends of things to pitch because he got an assist in Wickham's 2-0 win over Lincoln City. And I think if memory serves me correct, that is actually his 2nd assist of the season. And good as well, as you touched on there, to see Thomas O'Connor, because it's been probably a frustrating start to the season for him because that was his first appearance since August. And the fact now he's actually got a goal, which is his first of the season, will hopefully make him stand out more in the Burton Albion manager's mind.
Yeah, definitely. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank managed them
yeah,
a while ago as well.
Yeah. Touched on Conor Shaughnessy there as well. So a decent Irish contingent to look out for there in the East Midlands club.
Yeah, and look, they've massively overachieved the last while. It's not too long ago they were in the conference coming up with Nigel Clough as the manager. So, look, they were in the championship a couple of times from what I remember. So, look, fair play to them. And with the Irish lads involved, long may it continue. I've only got one bit of news from League Two on Saturday, and it's Will Ferry again. He scored for Crawley in their 2-1 win over Bradford City. I think that's 2 goals in a row for Will anyway.
Yeah, that's the only bit of information I have as well of noteworthiness from League Two. There was no midweek games there. There was a couple of EFL trophy games, obviously most involved League Two teams, as to why there was no games there. But I think his name has been mentioned a good bit on the show, right? He's another promising young player on loan from Southampton. He's come up through various underage teams, under 19 level. I think was in the last under 21 squad with Jim Crawford, but probably be there again on form for next month. Yeah, it is the month of September. Just have to double check the date there. But Crawley having a pretty decent start to the season as well. That win leaves them just outside the playoffs, so they're going fairly well in League Two. Will I take us through Scotland from the weekend though?
Work away.
Grant, so there's actually a good bit to get through here. A lot actually happened in the Scottish Premiership over the weekend. So Jake Carroll came on for the final 9 minutes of Motherwell's 2-1 win over Ross County. Of course, that was his first game back. He got sent off, I think, in the last game before the international break. Motherwell, of course, we obviously interviewed one of the other players, Darragh O'Connor. Just hasn't quite happened for him so far. But we did touch on how they had probably a frustrating season by their own standards last year. But they've hit the ground running so far. this season. They're 4th on 14 points, so just 2 points behind league leaders Rangers, while they don't probably dare come the end of the season. A push for Europe is looking quite good. Ryan Sweeney played the entire game as Dundee went down 1-0 home to Rangers. Of course, Ryan is a former Ireland under 21 international from, I think, around 2015, 2018, in around that time zone. Jake Doyle-Hayes came on at half time and he picked up a yellow card, but Hibs still bet St Johnstone 1-0. And despite picking up his yellow card, still picked up a good review from the Edinburgh Evening News, getting a 7 out of 10 rating. Get the midfield much more balance after the break as he won possession back a number of times, which is great to kind of hear. I think he's a player who is still eligible of the 21 ranks, or has he gone past it now, Paul?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure myself.
I
But
think he's
look,
still the same age as Troy Parrish and Adam Mead and all them, so I think he still is just eligible. But he's done really well since he's gone there. Obviously, he was with St Mirren last year, and Hibs again, another team absolutely flying atop the table. They're second now at the moment, just a point behind Rangers. James McCarthy was substituted in Celtic's 1-1 draw with Dundee on Sunday. Celtic not really having a good run of things at the moment. They're sixth on the table, nowhere near they expect to be even at this early stage of the season. On 10 points, they're 6 points behind Rangers. Big European game for them tonight at home against Bayer Leverkusen. They're definitely going to be up against the German Giants. And I'm going to save the best to last on Scotland, because I was actually watching this game on Sunday morning because there was nothing else to be doing. Conor Ronan, fantastic day for him. He was the hero for St Mirren. He scored twice in their 3-2 victory over Aberdeen on Sunday. A big win for Jim Goodwin's side. Conor McCarthy, Jamie McGrath, Alan Power and Joe Shaughnessy also all featured in that game for St Mirren. And then on the losing side, Johnny Hayes was lining out for them. First goal, bit of fortune with it, but you take it. Second goal, took it really well.
Yeah, definitely good going from Conor Ronan. And the Irish lads at St Mirren, the good form continues. Jamie McGrath also set up one of the goals, I think, as far as I know. I don't know if you mentioned that, but that's what it said on live score anyway. And look, long may it continue. Fair play to them. They've just got a good setup down there, and it's good to see the Irish lads playing regularly.
Yeah, and Jim is definitely making a good portfolio for himself. I think he's someone who could go on to have a really, really good management career. Like, he's worked his way up from the lower leagues in Scotland. Now he's proven his gold and proven his worth in the Premier Division. And he's someone that I definitely think that could go on to bigger and better things in management. He's still fairly young. He's not that long retired from the game. I think he probably would have played for longer only for injuries, I think, as well.
Yeah, definitely. Is that all from Scotland, or do you have anything else to?
That's all from Scotland. Just suppose the only thing is it's at the moment it's quite tight at the top of the table, but it's not Celtic that are pushing Rangers at the moment.
Yeah, definitely Celtic are struggling badly. I actually have one small thing to add from the lower leagues again. Luke O'Connell got a goal for Queen's Park in their 3-2 win over Peterhead. I think he's on loan from Celtic, I think. So look, good to see him get a goal and a win for Queen's Park. I didn't look at the table or anything because I don't even think it was on live score, to be honest. But look, good to see he got a goal. But look, the only reason I seen it was, again, Gillette. I was just watching it at the right time, like Dara O'Concubears, they were calling him last week.
Dare
O'Concubear. And look, I just seen it when it came up, and Jeff said, "Oh, Luke O'Connell, Queen's Park." So I was like, "Look, good going, fair play." Yeah, that's all from Scotland. I think we can have a brief roundup from Europe anyway. Obviously, Josh Cullen and Zach Elbouzedi. I'll start with Josh. He played the full 90 in 2 draws for Anderlecht against Oostende and Ghent in Belgium. Obviously, probably 2 games they probably would have wanted to win, particularly Ghent, who'd be a team in and around them as well, challenging for Europe. And Zach Elbouzedi, he played the full 90 in a draw against Kalmar and defeat to Degerfors. Not a good result for them, losing in that game. It leaves them 3rd behind Djurgården and Malmo. I think they're on the same points as Malmo and 3 points behind Djurgården. So still very tight in Sweden, but not a good result for them.
No, but interesting enough, that's actually the first time he's tasted defeat in an AIK jersey since he's joined in over 2 months. It just shows you the type of run that they've been on. But I think, obviously, we've been keeping quite a close eye on that Swedish title race over the last couple of weeks because of Zach. And, we mentioned on the show, that's going to have a lot more twists and turns over the last kind of couple of weeks. You look at someone like Malmo, who are in the Champions League group stages, but I think even at this early stage, their goose is cooked in terms of even probably getting a Europa League spot in that group. So I do think all concerns and energies from them will now go into this title race the next couple of weeks, and you got Jewel Gardens up there as well. But as you mentioned, like, okay, they've dropped down to third. They're still only 3 points off. There's still another 2 months left in that league, so a long, long way to go. And as for Josh Cullen and Anderlecht, yeah, it's been a really roller coaster up and down starts the season. It's never really kind of got going from. You mentioned draws there over the last kind of couple of weeks. They're sixth in the table at the moment, but it's very, very tight at the top. They're still only 3 points off top spot, just off Club Brugge, and we know how good they are. They've been a flying start in one of the group of deaths in the Champions League. They've really put themselves with a great show of at least getting a Europa League spot in that group, which I think if you told them that when the draw was made in late August, I think they would have bit your hand off. That's some impressive results against PSG and Leipzig. So, like, it is interesting. That league started, I think, 3 weeks before the Premier League. So they're at least 9-10 games in. And even at this stage, it still hasn't really kind of separated. So if they could get on a little bit of a run, who knows what could happen. Just one bit of news I have as well from the rest of Europe is, of course, former Bows and Shells player Graham Carey, of course, as we know, scored against Roma in the UEFA Conference League for CSK Sofia a few weeks ago. Well, he scored again in the Sofia derby as CSK bet Legia 2-1 over the weekend. They've had a little bit of a slow start to the season. They're fourth in the table on 16 points, but again, they're only 2 points off league leaders, Ludogorets. He's a player, to be honest, that when it came to doing our Irish Broad Show, I remember at the time when he signed from CSK Sofia from Plymouth, I was like, that's a bit of an interesting move. And it was only when I see it doing the rounds on Twitter that he scored against Rome the last couple of weeks. I'm like, oh my God, we missed out on a gem and not having him on the name mentioned on the show over the last kind of couple of weeks. But he's definitely someone we're going to keep an eye out for more of the coming weeks.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to keep an eye out for him. And sure, look, when they're playing in Europe, it's always a lot easier because, as you said, it trends on Twitter if they do something. So it's a lot easier. Whereas, like, even with the likes of Zach and Josh, it's like you kind of have to go searching a little bit, which is fine. Don't mind. Actually enjoy doing it. You get to learn a lot about the clubs as well. But obviously with that, look, we'll definitely have to keep an eye on it, and maybe we can get him on the show in a few weeks. You never know. Obviously it's a busy schedule at the minute with the European fixtures, so hopefully.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. I suppose an international break coming up as well. That obviously affects the Bulgarian league. There'll be 2 weeks off there as well. And I think Shells, I think he's more of a youth player there, so he mightn't reserve with them as much. But I think he's definitely go down a hit with the Bulls fans. Of course, he was part of that Bulls team back in 2008 that won the double. And of course, many people might be familiar. He had a very, very good spell there with Plymouth not that awfully long ago as well. So just to wrap up then, in America, the MLS, just 2 bits of kind of newsworthy to get from that. Of course, Derek Williams is actually injured at the moment. So, but while he was out injured, his team, LA Galaxy, were on the receiving end of a big upset. They lost 2-0 to Austin FC. And of course, John Gallagher, the Dundalk native, came off the last 18 minutes of that game. It was their first win in 6 games. They still remain bottom of the Western Conference. That just tells you how much an upset that result was. And Jake Mulroney came off the last 22 minutes in Atlanta's 1-0 defeat away to Philadelphia Union, a result that leaves them 8th in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, good going. Always enthralling stuff over in America. We love to hear from it. Anyway, I think that's it. I think that's it.
The regular season, as they say in America.
Yeah, the regular season. I wonder how that would go down over this side of the world. Anyway, I think that's it. I think we've got everything there. I've nothing else to add. Do you have anything else, or that's it?
No, I think that's just pretty much it. Obviously, of course, today is Thursday. There will be Europa League and UEFA Conference League action tonight. So obviously, we might try and get around to anything that happens that next week. Obviously, it's going to be a much quieter show next week because the games of the weekend and that's it. It's the international break. So we'll have obviously plenty of content coming up from the channel from that point of view. Of course, obviously the squad has been announced today for the upcoming games against Azerbaijan and Qatar. Stay tuned to the channel. I'm sure Paul will have content coming up with press conferences and everything else like that. But that's been it, Paul. It's been great being back after my 2 week sabbatical. I couldn't have really joined last week. I think I would have been in too much pain and discomfort if I joined after being on the bike last week. So no, it's good to be back. As I mentioned, just so much to get through these double game weeks as they take up a lot of time for researching.
Yes, they do, and it feels like you're repeating yourself a lot of the time with the players who are heavily involved all the time. Even the likes of Troy Parrott this week, I was like, did that not happen on Saturday? No, but it happened on Tuesday as well. But it's
good to hear.
It's no problem. Yeah, exactly, it's good to hear. That's what you want to hear, and happy to do it as well. It's enjoyable. Anyway, folks, that's it. Thanks very much for watching. Please stay tuned to all the content, particularly with the Ireland games coming up next week, like Jer said. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And thanks very much again.
Cheers, Paul.